Conservative Life of Mars, because we are living in strange times. Okay, this last episode of Jubilee's one person against 20 of the opposite people. This time they had Patrick Bet-David, who I totally adore, against 20 anti-capitalists. And I don't know how Jubilee vets these people, but this has got to be the wildest, wackiest bunch of coconuts that they have put together to talk to Patrick Bet-David. I will say there is a returning person or a recycled person, but I'm going to give some analysis on a few of the coconuts there as much as I can stomach, and here we go. The first person that I want to focus on is Caleb. Caleb has been called Ginger Jesus on TikTok and several other platforms because of his appearance. And even if you look completely, he doesn't really have a complete wardrobe on, or what I would consider a shirt and pants and shoes. He literally looks like he's walking through Jerusalem with a poncho and so forth. If you know the correct name of what I'm talking about, please let me know. But and he has the long, beautiful red hair. I've always had a thing for natural redheads, so he does catch my eye. But one thing that I am just so concerned about is in so many words, he says he doesn't know how to manage his wealth. And he wants to argue that with the question, the wealth given to people who don't know how to manage it would eventually end up back with the people where the wealth originated from, which I sort of believe that. And with a comment that he made later on, where he said he's with 13-year-olds all the time through substitute teaching. I want to know who is having this clown watch their kids at 13 years of age, and is he dressed like that? And two, these are 13-year-old young people that he gives back to the parents. I'm just curious, does he have any children of his own where he had to see the mother go through the trials and tribulations of pregnancy, give birth, then try to figure out, how do I feed this baby? How do I clothe this baby? How do I get this baby medical care? And I just have to get a job that may or may not be noble and good, because those choices are gone from me, because I gotta put something on the table for this little person that I somehow put together. And I think without those experiences, these people have a rough time understanding what it means to live in a capitalist society and having to do things that you may not want to do, or having to struggle a little bit. Excuse me, I don't see these people wanting to struggle, and this guy I don't see wanting to struggle. I mean, Patrick Bet-David offered him a job on the spot, and he was like, only if it's pure and noble or good and noble. I'm thinking, if I was in his shoes and had that position, sure, right there, right now, give it to me. I'll make it happen. We will find a way. I will learn. This guy doesn't want to, my impression is, he doesn't want to even learn a job. If someone was saying, well, look, do you want to become an astronaut? Sure, come on, let's do it. Let's see if I can do it. Okay, let's do it. This guy is just living on a cloud. And then he was wanting to thank California, as if the state of California is an entity on itself and not made by people that put money into the government of California, so he can have medical insurance and so he can get blood work. What type of blood work does this guy need? I'm just thinking of all the reasons why you would want medical insurance. He's coming up with blood work. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe there's something wacky going on with there. And food stamps. He also mentioned that he has put out resumes, 400 resumes, and he's done everything, and he has the receipts for the resumes. I would be curious, what jobs did he give resumes to? I just get the feeling that he wants a job where he can work at the zoo, feed unicorns, pet the squirrels, maybe give a bath to the hippopotamus or something. And because it's noble and good, maybe he wants to be a forest ranger or something. These are things that I kind of would have pushed back on to find out what the deeper meaning is. I do understand PBD has a mission that he has to accomplish with this, so he couldn't really go in depth, but I bet you any money he was thinking these same questions as me. One other thing Caleb said was that he didn't want to do anything that was exploitative or destructive to him or to any of his counterparts. I think to better understand him, which I have I have very reserved amounts to do, is to explain, what does this crap mean? I just remember being at a job. Okay, I'm there, I'm going to get the job done, I'm going to do it because I have a plan, I'm going to college, I'm getting this done. And I think the most insulting thing Caleb says, which kind of puts a bow on top of everything of how much of a bubble he lives in, he asked PBD, has he ever been on the train or the bus and get hit or punched for how he looked in his views? And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this guy is Middle Eastern. There was a time in this country, and still now, there are times in this country, especially during Desert Storm. I remember being in college and having to tell some of my Muslim friends, please be careful. The fraternities and some sororities are going around trying to beat up anybody that looks Middle Eastern, okay? It doesn't matter if you're from the Middle East or not. If you have that look, they're going to want to beat you up because of what's happening over there with the United States. And this is no questions asked. They're just going to go and beat you down. I said, well, it's not right. No, but I want you to protect yourself. And then I think about this fool who looks like personal Jesus is trying to compare his little ridiculousness, which more than likely he caused himself, versus someone who's just standing there that has a particular look that they can't help. This is how they were born. This guy was just a nut job to me, a bag of coconuts. I wonder how he survives. I would be really interested in knowing more about him to a small degree, because I'm not trying to rot my brain on someone else that is rotten. Okay, Conservative Life on Mars. Do you have any thoughts about this clown? How do you feel about what I've just said about him? And stay tuned for the next person that I just found really remarkable.